Hi everyone, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I had to change my clothes because white was not the best thing for this. Okay, so now you can see better. Well, welcome to everybody to the last day of the month of Aries, which is exactly 9 months from the beginning of this path. So it's been 9 months since we begin. So it's a perfect cycle. And so in all these times, we didn't have any weekend, any holidays, no day out. So we've been straight 9 months till today. So thank you to all of you who have been every day here with me, and thank you to all those who had been joining me this in the next months and weeks. And we have 3 months more ahead to finish this. So let's keep doing it. So for the closure of this month, the day of Taurus, the day of the Taurus, the day of the Toroid, we will talk about the topic of free will. I've been reading the post just right now, try to understand a little bit what I was supposed to explain right now, and it's really, I know that some concepts are really complicated. I would recommend you to read it once and again until you get kind of the idea. I was trying to make a summary of the concepts, and I know that the topics are complex sometimes, but those are the ways in which I found to explain it today. So I was just saying, do we have free will? No, we don't have. So that's it. So have a good night. See you later in another moment. Let's go to deeper into this. Actually, we don't have free will, and this is something that is really heavy to get for some people, because we have put so much expectation and weight into the concept of free will that we kind of expect for us to be free in the universe, to have this freedom, and but we actually don't have free will in the universe. But what we do have is the possibility of create free will. And that's what we are going to work with today. The idea of free will is something that philosophically was born in the religious way of thinking, in which we started to build the idea that we are free to make a choice in our lives, that we can do any choice in our reality. So, for example, like in the Matrix movie, we have the red and the blue pill, and we have to choose one of them. So in the movie, they tell you have to pick one, and your path will be determined by what you pick. Well, now take that into the next level. Like, related to people. You have to choose in between two people or two projects or two paths or two careers. Whatever you have to pick in between two things or more, is the concept is that you are free to do so, that you have the free will to choose that. Remember that will comes from will, from the concept of will in the European languages, which means to desire something, to be to want something. Okay, so when we say to the free will is the freedom of choice upon something, that I want this and I am free to choose this. Okay, so will, that's the will. This idea then is the one take us to today, to the concept that we have this ability to choose in between different things according to what we want or desire in our life. So first of all, to understand why we say freedom, free of will, we have to understand what is that this concept of free will is related to the way in which humans perceive freedom, not how it actually is. Freedom from the point of view of humans is when you set yourself free from the relationship with others, with the links with others. Like when you are oppressed by something, so you release the pressure. So you go into another path, into another way with another people. So we could picture this like if we have these humans here and we all are connected, so kind of oppressed. And this one here says, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to be oppressed by these other links. So I want to be with this one here. So it connects with this one and breaks with this others, setting itself free from the other group. So in the concept of a human, in the concept of our point of view, set ourselves free is basically to change a group and go into another one, which is something obvious for us, but it's not like this for the entire universe. Let's imagine this. We have this structure here. We have here oxygen, O, and 2 hydrogen. So it's 2 ions and 1 oxygen, H2O. We all know what is this. This is water. So what would happen if this one here says, no, I don't want to be part of this anymore. I have the free will to choose to go here. What happened with the structure? So what happened here? When this one here says, I don't want to be part of this anymore and go away. So suddenly it's not 2HO, it's H2O. Suddenly it's just that. It's not water anymore. In the universe, the organization like this is not like because simply happened. It is organized by resonance, And the resonance, we can understand it as electrical charge, whether it's positive or negative. So by resonance, particles get together to create an atom. By resonance, these particles get together to create an atom, and atoms by resonance get together to create a molecule, and the molecule by resonance get together to create a chemical, and so on. By resonance. They don't do this by will. So what this means, that in the microcosmos and the macrocosmos, all things are attracted by resonance, not by will. I will try to explain this. So what would make then for you to choose in between one of the other? The thing that makes you choose in between one or other is not free will. Is the interpretation of your brain, which is evolving according to interpretate the wavelength of the photons that move through the light reflecting this object into your brain, and the brain interprets that data, and according by resonance in that wavelength, will be much more attracted to one color or the other, just because your brain is designed to perceive better one or another. So this is like killing the magic. Sorry, but so now let's humanize this interpretation. The reason why we choose one or another, because of the brain interprets, oh, this one I know, is because along my history, since the moment I was born, everything that happened to me was related to some color. For example, every time I was happy, or every time that something good happened, or something romantic happened, or a laughter happened, my brain usually saw something that was blue. So because I was watching something blue around when things were going fine, my brain was designed to interpret that when I see blue, things can come better. Things will be fine. And that's why when I have to choose something, I will pick the blue one, because my brain says it would be fine. So actually, this is like sending to hell free will. We can tell that with a person, for example. With a person, we also, when we choose someone that we like, that we love, when we have to pick someone, a partner in our lives, we will usually try to pick a person to do that, that reminds us the first laughters, the first structures of the face of mom or dad, or someone that we loved a lot when we were born. Because the brain says this is good. And that's why we usually pick people very similar to our family. So the same thing happened when we choose a place to go to on holidays, if it's hot or cold, if it's a place that is order or a place that is a mess. And even when you had an election, when you have to vote, socialism or conservatism, the blue ones, the red ones. Actually, our brain is designed, our human brain is designed in order to capture information, to receive data, receive information all the time. So before we were born, we started to capture all this data through the senses, by the voices, the touch, the smells, the colors, the situations around, everything. And in the first 7 years of your life, your brain has designed the entire structure that will determine your choices for the next 80 years. So now we go a bit more complex, because I was just about an individual, a unique being, only one human being. The thing is that when you start to think bigger, you remember that your body is a constant reproduction of cells that has the information of the entire history of the human being, not only grandfathers and grandmothers, the entire cells of human beings to the origin of our history, millions of years ago. So we have within the conditions of fear, of anger, I don't know, many data that we don't even know about, that is conditioning every day what we do, what we choose. And now let's think even much more bigger. Human beings are inside the hominids branches. The hominids are in the mammal branches. The mammals come from other vertebrate beings that connect us with the birds and the reptilians, the reptiles. And then we go to the oceans, connected to the fishes, and then we start to remember the invertebrate. How do you say this in English? Without vertebrae, without bones, beings. So from them we reach the amoeba, and from the amoeba we reach the first cell, and the first cells we reach the conjunction of chemicals that creates an organism first time. So all that information from all those history is connected to our cells, determining what we are, what we choose every day. So going back in the time, these chemicals came from the skies through asteroids, comets, that came from other worlds, other planets, even in other galaxies. So we have also the memory of other civilizations, of other beings in different stars. All that data within us. And of course, some aliens that came in between. So everything that we are, everything that exists in ourselves, in everything that we can touch here, basically came from the interaction of a network of particles that are together by resonance. So where this is taking us to what we spoke yesterday, when we said everything that exists is just a network of data in formation. And what is the word that makes a summary of a network of data in formation? The word is mind. So where this is taking us to, that in the origin of everything, when this first wave becomes a particle and starts to exchange data, everything that comes after that is a constant condition, is a constant projection that is conditioned by this data. So basically, everything that exists is just an idea connected through or expressed through time and space. So this helps us to understand something that we have to take out of our minds, which is that we have not been created by the universal mind. We humans' existence we were not created by the universe. We are the mind. We are data manifested. So the mistake that we usually do is that we want to put a name, a who, to that interaction of data in the mind, when the word who is basically another projection of the expansion of this network. So this is why we are manifested data, manifested information. We were not created by the mind, we are the mind. If we are information manifested, it means that we are mind. And the mind is this network that is exchanging data all the time, which means that we are conditioned by that data. So we don't have freedom. And here I want to go deep into this concept of freedom. Because when I say we have not freedom in the universe, suddenly we start to think that, oh, so we are not free. We have to break something to set ourselves free from this oppression of the universe because we are not free. But that's a human vision. Humans have been trying to escape from oppression through history in the planet. But in all this explanation that I did, I never said someone. I never said that the universe is someone that has ourselves in a place. So from who we have to be free from, if there's no who. So the idea of freedom is not to escape from one spot. The idea of be free is to recognize that I am that spot. So the idea of how we can set ourselves free is when we recognize that all this network of data, all these entangled links of information is ourselves. And those things are the ones that are conditioning us in what we are. It's us, it's ourselves, it's everywhere. So when we recognize that we are that entanglement of data, so we recognize that we are oppressed by ourselves, not by something outside. And there is no network outside or inside that is oppressing us. Because in the universe, everything is a constant. The fractalization of the mind. So we are a consequence. This is why we have free will. Because when I am willing something, it means that I wish for something, that I need for something, that I want something. So if I want something, this is connected to all the codes and the data that program me in order to survive by saying this food is the right one, this person is the right one, this path is the right one. So I am willing to take that food because it's the good one. I'm willing to relate with this person because it's the good one. So the will is kind of the intention that is moved by the data that conforms myself, that shape myself. So the question here is, am I able to have free will? Well, yes, we can. But first of all, we have to understand that all the choices were already taken. Why? Because the choices are not made by us, are made by the network of data that create us, that we are. So this means that all the choices have been made in the time, in the moment when I was designed as what I am now. So all the choices have been taken. The only thing that I'm doing here is to figure out how to live that choice. So the choices that I made in my structure of information, in structure of data, the choices that I did are taking me to have a will that is conditioned. We are conditioning our will according to what we know from the world, what we felt from the world through all this collection of data. As I did example, the red, I will relate red with something wrong, for example, according to if my brain have lived experience, acknowledging that the situations where the red was present were not good for me, or, for example, and of course, that data will create an emotion regarding the red. So then my will, according to the red color, will be determined by what I know from the red and what I feel from the red. You got that? Because that's important. So we are determined, conditioned in our choice of will or will of choice by the emotions that our structure of data feels and the knowledge that was stored as data. This means that before, what we had before is that the structure that I am is conditioned by a knowledge that is conditioned and a feeling that is conditioned by the experiences that will determine and condition my will. So we have three kind of conditions here. The condition of what I know, which is the condition of wisdom, the condition of what I feel, which is the condition of love, and the condition of what I'm willing to do, which is conditioned by what I think, what I know, and what I feel. If I am willing to set myself free and have free will, what I have to do is get out of the conditions of will. So I need to become unconditional in my will. And the way I can only do that is if I become unconditionally loving with unconditional wisdom. You got that? Because this is important. For you to see it, what we have here is that if I am vibrating low, I will attract things that are also vibrating low. By resonance, I will attract the same things that I have. So I connect to that, and when I do that, we'll have the same level of vibration. Okay, so that creates a knowledge and experience from that vibration that creates a wave of energy that we call love. And the love, the feeling, will be conditioned by that experience that will take me to have action, to take action in my life, my will, according to that level of vibration. This is why our will is conditioned by what we feel and what we know, which is an exchange of data. In order to have free will, what we have to do is to set ourselves free from the conditions of that will. So we have to become, to take for ourselves unconditional will. And the way we can reach unconditional will is if we look into our relationships and our emotions, and we start to heal our connections and how we feel the world and the others, ourselves, and we start to transform into unconditional love. And that takes us to the path of information, which is our beliefs, our patterns of action, like I have this faith, or I have belief and nobody can change it. So that's wisdom that is conditioned by our experience. But if we open ourselves to the world, to learn new things, to allow ourselves to change our point of views or amplify our point of views, we will be living through unconditional wisdom. If we free ourselves from the attachments and the conditions of love, we start to live through unconditional love. And these two, unconditional wisdom and love, will take me to set myself free from all the previous conditions that takes me to action. So my next action will be free. This is why unconditional will or free will is not a universal law. Free will is something that we build up. The key here is not unconditional love. The key here is unconditionality in every sense. Because the universal mind, which is the connection of data, is conditioned by resonance. So the answer is no, we don't have free will unless we become beings that are completely unconditional. Just to wrap this, it's not a must that we have to have free will. It's not something that you have to work for having it because you must have it. No, this is a choice, okay, in your path, that I want to work with the free will in myself. For example, I am rising Capricorn. I don't want free will. You know, it would be really uncomfortable for me to have free will. I wouldn't be here. I need myself not to be free in that wheel in order to accomplish everything that I'm doing. So I feel that, okay, I know the stages, I know what to do. So it's not a must, it's just that. So when the reason why it's not a must is because, for example, when you start to be connected to the net, you realize that you are the net, the web. You don't feel anymore like you are oppressed or you are not free, because you are. So you simply say, I am the network. And that's it. So information for today. The vibration for today is, the statement for today is, I am the eternal designer.